Good morning. Today we're focusing on the literature text. We're going to go back into that poem. Remember, there will be an open book quiz for the poem on Tuesday when we return from the break. Today we're going to look at essential question number 1, how do readers know what to believe? Number 3, what strategies and resources do I use to figure out unknown vocabulary? Number 5, how does interaction with text provoke thinking and response? And number 6, how do what readers read influence how they should read it? We're going to again close read this poem, and as we do so, we're going to make sure on the first level we're going to look at what the text actually says. Yesterday we already summarized it, so today we're going to focus on looking for challenging vocabulary words that might be new to you, but if there aren't any new words to you, then look for words that are more challenging in this piece. Once you do, I want you to highlight 2 and then look up the word and provide the definition there. I want you to also provide in this answer what are some quoted words from this poem that could be called your context clues that help you understand the particular meaning of that word as used in the passage. So make sure you do that with 2 words and quote and cite your evidence there as well. This connects to learning target number 14, to determine or clarify the meaning of unknown words or phrases using context clues. We say that means to decide or clear up the meaning of words and phrases that we don't know by using other words from within the text that will help us guess to or reason out the meaning of the word. That's going to be what we do in phase 1. In phase 2, we're going to look at how the text says it. So when you reread the poem for that specific phase, you're going to be looking at alliteration as used in the poem. This is new notes. We don't have these notes in our packet yet, but alliteration is a consonant sound that's repeated throughout the stanzas. And as you look for that section or that one specific consonant sound that's used, that alliteration that's used, I want you to answer the question, what's the impact of the alliteration on the lines? And you need to cite your evidence by quoting the alliteration as your example, and then explain the impact by beginning with either it hints at, it emphasizes something, it explains something specific, or it highlights something. We did not have high scores on the formative assessment on this area. So let's go ahead and get a definition for it. This is learning target number 12, to analyze the impact of rhymes and other repetitions of sound on a specific verse or stanza of a poem or on a section of a story or drama. To put that in our own words, that means to look closely at the effect or impact of rhymes and other sounds, such as alliteration, on a specific part of a poem, story, or drama. To define alliteration, that's the repetition or repeating of a consonant sound at the beginning of the word. Remember, consonants are those words that are not vowels. So any word that's not A, E, I, O, U would be a consonant. And sometimes you'll see people in writing repeat that sound in order to be able to create a specific effect. And just like you see in our close reading, we are going to answer this question down here of what's the impact of the alliteration on the lines. And I am asking that you begin with one of these options. Hints, emphasizes, highlights, or explains. I think that the easier ones to understand, hints and explains, you kind of know what that means. Emphasize and highlights are synonymous. Emphasize means to really draw attention to, and highlight also means the same thing. So it sheds light upon a specific aspect of the text. So that's what we're going to do in the phase 2 of the reading. In phase 3, yesterday we already looked at the message of this piece, the theme. So today we're going to look closely at the theme as it pertains to the tone. So as we do that, we're going to look at the author's word choice. I want you to think about, would you describe the speaker's tone as positive, negative, or neutral? And after you decide on the tone as being a positive tone, a negative tone, or a neutral tone, I want you to provide a specific word that you think would really explain that positive, negative, or neutral tone. If you can't think of one on your own, you could pick one of mine. You could say that the tone, if you think it's positive, maybe it's inspirational. If you think it's negative, maybe you think it's very objective. If you think it's neutral, maybe you think it's very objective. Or if you think it's negative, maybe you'd say bitter as the tone. So you could either pick one of my options, and explain how you see it, or you could pick one of your own by looking up different words that you think show the attitude coming off the page that the speaker of this poem is portraying. After you do that, I want you to take the time to think about how that specific positive, negative, or neutral tone in the passage helps to show or reflect the theme of pushing your limits is the only way to achieve true wisdom. So that is one of the main messages of the piece, that big why the text matters statement. So connect the author's tone to this message that he's conveying. How does his tone help to show this message within the piece? So how does the attitude of the speaker coming off the page really help to highlight that message statement or that theme? Make sure you find a piece of evidence, a quote from the poem that you think best helps to capture the tone of the piece, but also helps to capture the message. So you need to find one sentence that covers both the tone or the attitude coming off the out of the words on the page, and also that message. This is quite challenging of a question, so hopefully you'll be able to do that. This one covers multiple learning targets. The first one that it covers is to learning target number 6, to analyze how particular elements interact. We're looking at both tone here and also theme. So we're looking at how the tone and theme interact and connect with each other. This also ties into number 3, which is determine a theme or central idea of a text, as well as how that theme develops over the course of that poem. It also ties in to number 13, to distinguish among different connotations of words with similar denotations, to be able to see how different words, although they might mean the same thing, have a different sound coming off the page, and we call that sound tone. As we do phases 2 and 3, make sure you're providing a quoted evidence from the poem, as well as remember when you're answering each of those questions, especially phase 2 and 3, your answer is your opinion. It is your claim that you've drawn from the reading of that poem, and you're communicating that in your response. So we are citing specific evidence by quoting it in phase 2 and 3, and we are, by giving our answer to the question, creating our claim that we're saying is our solid opinion that can be proven from evidence within that text. So go ahead and get working on this close reading, our final day of looking at this poem, before you take an open book quiz on it when you return to school on Tuesday.